Attention passionate San Francisco 49ers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on San Francisco 49ers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true San Francisco 49ers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and San Francisco 49ers fans. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you've been paying attention to the NFL offseason buzz, you know the league is always full of surprises, but right now, the talk surrounding the San Francisco 49ers is particularly intriguing. The team, as many of you already know, has been building towards another deep playoff run, and the roster is stacked. But even with a roster full of stars, there's a question mark hanging over the wide receiver position, especially with the recent injuries and some uncertainty around the depth chart. And that's where things get really interesting. Rumors are swirling about a potential trade involving one of the league's most explosive receivers, Tyreek Hill, and it's causing quite a stir among 49ers fans. Now, let's set the scene for a moment. The 49ers, as we all know, have one of the most talented rosters in the league. They have a solid quarterback in Brock Purdy, who proved last season that he can lead a high-powered offense. They have a top-tier defense, and their coaching staff is among the best in the NFL. But despite all that, the wide receiver position has some vulnerabilities that could be exploited if they don't address them properly. Brandon Ayuk, who is expected to be a key piece in their passing game, is coming off a torn ACL and MCL. And let's be honest, coming back from such a serious injury, it's unlikely he'll be as explosive as he was before, at least initially. The team has been cautious about his recovery, and while he's expected to be a part of the offense this season, the question remains about his ability to stretch defenses vertically and make those game-changing plays. Demarcus Robinson, another receiver on the roster, is facing a multi-game suspension to start the season, which leaves the team a little thin at the position. Ricky Pearsall, a promising young player, has been battling hamstring injuries, pulling it multiple times during off-season workouts. So, who's left? Jauan Jennings, who's been a solid possession receiver, but let's be frank here. Jennings is more reliable than spectacular. He's good at what he does, but he's not the type of explosive game changer that can take the top off a defense. Which brings us to the big question. Could the 49ers really be considering a move for a player like Tyreek Hill? Now, if you've been following NFL trade chatter, you know that Hill is one of the most electrifying wide receivers in the league. His speed, route running, and ability to score from anywhere on the field make him a nightmare for defenses. And the Dolphins, who currently hold his rights, might be open to trading him if the right offer comes along. Rumors suggest that the Dolphins could start listening to trade proposals for Hill as early as June 2, which is a key date for NFL teams to begin negotiations more seriously. The big question, of course, is whether the 49ers are truly interested and whether they're willing to pay the hefty price tag that Hill commands. Let's talk about that price for a moment. Tyreek Hill's contract is not exactly cheap. He's set to earn around $26 million in 2025, which is a significant cap hit. The Dolphins, with their current roster, might be contemplating a rebuild or at least a strategic shift, especially if they feel they're not quite ready to compete at the highest level with Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. Some analysts suggest that Hill might not believe in the Dolphins' championship window, which could make him more receptive to a trade. And that's where the 49ers come into play. They have over $50 million in cap space, which means they could technically absorb Hill's contract if ownership is willing to make that move. But, and here's the catch, they just spent a staggering $39 million on Ayuk last season. So do they want to add another high-priced receiver? That's a debate among fans and insiders alike. Grant Cohn, our go-to guy for 49ers insights, has been covering the team extensively since 2011. He's seen the ups and downs, the trades, the draft picks, and all the behind-the-scenes action. Grant often points out that the 49ers have the cap space and the roster flexibility to make a move if they see it as the right fit. But he also notes the team's recent investments and the importance of balancing the salary cap with their championship ambitions. There's a strategic question here. Are the 49ers willing to pay for that extra weapon, especially when they already have a strong core? Or will they pass, preferring to develop their younger players and focus on their existing talent? The idea of bringing in Tyreek Hill isn't just about adding another star. It's about transforming the offense, making it more dynamic and unpredictable. Hill's speed would open up the field for Purdy and the entire offense, forcing defenses to respect the deep ball and creating more one-on-one opportunities for Ayuk, if he's healthy, and George Kittle in the middle of the field. It could also help foster a more explosive passing attack, something the 49ers have been striving for since their Super Bowl run a couple of seasons ago. Imagine the possibilities: play-action passes, quick slants, deep bombs. Hill's presence would change the entire offensive dynamic. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. The 49ers would have to navigate the trade logistics, the salary cap implications, and the locker room chemistry. Trading for a player like Hill would be a bold move, but it's not unprecedented in the NFL. Historically, teams that make aggressive moves in the offseason often find themselves in better positions come playoff time. And for the 49ers, who have been knocking on the Super Bowl door repeatedly, it might be the kind of gamble that pushes them over the edge. But let's not forget, the NFL offseason is always full of surprises. The trade deadline, free agency, draft day, these are moments when teams make moves that can redefine their seasons. The 49ers have a talented roster, but adding a player of Hill's caliber could be the final piece to solidify their status as contenders. And as fans, we're always eager to see how these stories unfold, whether it's a blockbuster trade or a draft steal. Now, looking at the bigger picture, the NFC West is getting more competitive by the year. The Seahawks are rebuilding, the Rams are trying to bounce back after injuries and a rough season, and the Cardinals are in a bit of a transition with their new coaching staff and quarterback situation. The 49ers, meanwhile, are consistently seen as one of the top teams in the conference, but in the NFL, it's all about fine margins. That's why making bold moves, like potentially adding Hill, could be what sets them apart from the rest. It's about staying ahead of the curve, maintaining a championship-caliber roster, and keeping their eyes on that elusive Super Bowl trophy once again. And speaking of history, the 49ers franchise has a rich tradition of making impactful trades and draft picks. Remember how they built their Super Bowl-winning teams in the 80s and 90s? It was about identifying talent, making strategic moves, and sometimes taking risks. That same mindset is alive today, with General Manager John Lynch and head coach Kyle Shanahan leading the charge. They've shown a willingness to be aggressive when needed, and adding a player like Hill would be a statement, an indication that the 49ers are all in for another championship. In the end, it all comes down to what the front office believes will give them the best chance to succeed. Do they see Hill as the piece that pushes them over the top? Or do they prefer to stay patient, develop their current roster, and look for other avenues to improve? Whatever the case, one thing is clear: this offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory for 49ers fans. The potential for big trades, roster shakeups, and strategic moves is always on the table, and we're here to keep you updated every step of the way. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, remember that the NFL offseason is a roller coaster of rumors, negotiations, and surprises. The 49ers are in a prime position to capitalize on these opportunities, and whether they make a splash for Hill or not, one thing is for sure: they're not going to settle for mediocrity. They're hungry for that championship, and every move they make is with that goal in mind. So stay tuned, keep your eyes on the news, and get ready for an adrenaline-filled season ahead. The 49ers are always aiming higher, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest San Francisco 49ers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, San Francisco 49ers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all this? Do you believe the team should go all in and pursue a trade for Tyreek Hill? Or do you think they should stick to their current plan and develop from within? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the 49ers. Remember, this team is built on passion, resilience, and a relentless drive to win. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest San Francisco 49ers news. Whether it's trades, draft picks, or offseason moves, we're here to bring you the most comprehensive coverage out there. Thanks for being part of this journey, and as always, go Niners.